Imagine this, one quiet Monday night. The crowd's murmuring, the match feels routine, and then a ripple goes through the arena. It's not a pop, not a scream, just this weird wave of confusion. The camera swings to the stage, the lights shift, and the music hits, and for a split second, nobody moves. Nobody breathes, because the person stepping out isn't someone anyone expected to see on a random November episode of Raw. It's AJ Lee. No announcement, no tease, no rumor warming the internet up beforehand. Just a shock drop that left Becky Lynch staring like she'd seen a ghost walk into the title match she was supposed to dominate. And in that tiny moment, everything changed. Not just for Becky, not just for Maxine Dupree, who walked out of that match with gold around her waist, but for the entire direction of Survivor Series, because AJ didn't come back to smile, wave at the fans, and remind everyone she used to run the division. She came back with purpose. A purpose that, according to the very people who break WWE news before WWE even finishes writing the script, now has her penciled in for the biggest women's match of the year, WarGames. But let's not jump ahead just yet, because to understand why this return hit the way it did, we've got to rewind the story a little. AJ Lee didn't just drift out of wrestling because she felt like taking a vacation. She walked away after years of grinding, championing a division that didn't get the spotlight it deserved, and dealing with real physical issues. People forget she quietly fought through injuries for way longer than she admitted on TV, and when she left, fans honestly believed that was it. No bitterness, no big farewell tour, nothing dramatic. Just a clean exit during a time when the women's division was shifting around her. So, for her to appear in 2025, when the landscape is full of new faces, returning giants, and a division that's stacked from top to bottom, the timing feels almost too deliberate. Like WWE waited for the exact moment when the women's side needed a jolt, when the Survivor Series card needed a spark, when Becky Lynch needed a rival who didn't only match her presence, but could shake the entire room with a single entrance. That's why the Raw moment matters so much. AJ didn't just walk out to wave and smile, she walked out during a title match. Becky was seconds away from retaining the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and then AJ's music hits. Becky freezes, the ref hesitates, Maxine Dupree capitalizes, and just like that, the belt is gone. Becky's momentum is cracked, and AJ has instantly inserted herself into a storyline without saying a single word. You couldn't design a cleaner, tighter, more dramatic re-entry. But that's where things get even crazier, because while the live audience was still trying to figure out if their eyes were lying to them, the backstage whispers started flying. Then the reports hit. First, from people who have been doing this for years, then from the big wrestling outlets that rarely risk accuracy when it comes to returns. And every single one of them started repeating the same phrase. AJ Lee is penciled in for Survivor Series WarGames. Not confirmed, not locked, but penciled in, and if you've followed wrestling long enough, you know that term is WWE code for "we want this." And unless someone breaks their leg or refuses, this is where the story is headed. Brian Alvarez reported it first, and when he says someone is penciled in, it usually means meetings have already happened, creative has already made room, and talent has already been asked if they're willing. It doesn't mean the match graphic is ready, but it does mean someone backstage is excited enough to leak it. But who exactly is AJ being lined up with? That's where the picture becomes even more explosive. The team she's rumored to be joining is Rhea Ripley's side, a squad that's already stacked with power, experience, and some of the craftiest stars on the roster. We're talking Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and a spot that may have been originally floated to Charlotte Flair before the rumor mill said she quietly declined. And now, AJ Lee might be stepping in to fill that exact space. Think about that for a second. AJ Lee in her first WarGames match. AJ teaming with Rhea freaking Ripley. AJ inside a cage surrounded by chaos. Ladders, chairs, chains, whatever else they decide to throw in there. This is a woman whose entire persona was built around speed, sharpness, unpredictability. WarGames is basically a playground for someone like her. On the other side of that equation, some of the most dangerous women on the roster today. Nia Jax, Lash legend, Asuka Kairi Sane. And the wildest part is the possibility that Becky Lynch herself could be leading the opposing team. The same woman AJ shocked on Raw and indirectly cost a title. That's not just a match. That's a storyline powder keg waiting to explode. But let's break this down a little more, because a return like this doesn't happen out of thin air. There are logistics, medical evaluations, contract negotiations, creative discussions. And remember, AJ didn't retire because she was bored. She retired because her body needed it. Injuries stack up. Nerve issues stick around. The grind of being on the road every single night wears people down in ways even cameras can't capture. So for her to be cleared, even for one match, means WWE's medical team saw something they liked. It means AJ felt confident enough to get back in the ring, even if the plan is short-term. And that short-term part is a huge piece of the puzzle, because some insiders are already whispering this might not be a long full-time return, but a strategic one. A return designed to pop a big event, elevate the match, and maybe ignite one last rivalry that fans have been begging for. And man, that rivalry could be Becky Lynch. If AJ sides with Rhea's team, that instantly puts her opposite Becky. You don't even need promos at first. The history writes itself. Becky rose. After AJ left, Becky became the face of the women's division during a time AJ inexplicably wasn't there to share that spotlight. And fans have been fantasy booking a face-to-face moment between the two for nearly a decade. WarGames becomes the perfect place to plant the seed. Becky inside a cage with a J. No escape. No hiding behind creative. No avoiding the old verses. New clash. Becky, the warrior. AJ, the strategist. Becky brings power. AJ brings speed. Becky thrives in brawls. AJ thrives in chaos. These two don't just make a good match, they make a generational moment. And here's the thing people aren't talking about yet. Survivor Series isn't the finish line, it's the spark. WWE loves using WarGames to set up January feuds. They love using November chaos to ignite December rivalries. And if AJ is in that cage, even for 5 minutes, something is going to happen. A stare down, a betrayal, a miscommunication, a surprise attack. Something that leaves the audience screaming, "Oh my God, they're doing AJ versus Becky." But for that match to happen anytime soon, AJ has to make it through WarGames healthy. And that's the real question hanging over everything. Can she handle the brutality of WarGames after years away? Can she take bumps from monsters like Nia Jax? Can she fly around in a double cage environment without risking something serious? These are the questions the internet has been arguing about nonstop. And rightfully so. AJ never relied on raw strength. She relied on agility, speed, timing, and ring IQ. WarGames is a wrestling blender. It throws bodies around, forces chaos, and demands endurance. But remember something important. Veterans thrive in multi-woman matches because they don't have to carry the whole load. They pick their spots. They come in, leave an impact, step out, recover, then return for the big moments. WWE can hide AJ's weaknesses, protect her body, and still give the fans exactly what they want. And that's where the entire Survivor Series picture becomes almost poetic. Because a match like this lets AJ shine while setting the table for what comes next. Whether that's a singles feud with Becky, a shocking alliance, a surprise betrayal, or even a one-night showcase that reminds fans why they loved her in the first place. But here's the wild twist. We still don't know if WWE plans to announce her for the match or let her be the big reveal the night of the event. And honestly, the element of surprise might be worth more than any graphic. Imagine the cage is lowering, for women on each side, both teams staring each other down. And then the lights glitch, a static hit, the old heartbeat sound plays, and AJ Lee comes walking out last. Not announced, not spoiled, just pure, raw chaos. You cannot buy that kind of moment. So where does that leave us right now? With a giant question mark in the middle of the Survivor Series card, AJ is penciled in. She's involved in Becky's current storyline. She's physically present on WWE TV again. And the timing couldn't be more perfect. Everything is pointing toward her stepping into WarGames. And if she does, the entire division gets a seismic shock that fans have been craving. But it leaves one final, massive question hanging over the whole thing. Is AJ Lee back for one night, or is she back for a real run? Because if WarGames goes well, if the crowd erupts, if the chemistry is there, and if WWE sees dollar signs in AJ versus Becky, don't be surprised if this return becomes much bigger than anyone expected. Don't be shocked if we see AJ pop up again, planting seeds for something even more cinematic, emotional, and historic. So now I'll throw it to you. The people who've been waiting years for this moment. If AJ Lee walks into WarGames, who does she confront first? Becky, Rhea, Asuka, someone else entirely? Drop your predictions. Smash the like button if you want a J in Survivor Series.